Welcome, everyone. Sorry, a little loud. We have a very professional microphone today. Thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope you've had a wonderful day at launch. I'm Kirsten, president of Decorative Materials, and this is Allison of Allison Eden Studios. She is Tile family. I feel like I've grown up with you. It's been amazing to watch your evolution. I love your story. I'm very excited for all of you to hear Allison's story. And what else? We've been on tour this week. We all just drove down from our mountain showrooms. And thank you all for joining us. I'd love to introduce Joseph of Design Talk Live, who will be hosting our live podcast today. And Gary, Allison's amazing husband, is here, who's also a part of the business, and her son, Harry. Welcome to Colorado. So without further ado, I will turn it over to you guys, and thank you so much for making the trip. Be sure to grab Allison afterwards. We have a whole installation in our entrance, a lot of her new products, including her stone collection. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for coming.
Hey there, podcast listeners. Before we dive into the episode, I wanted to share with you an easy way for you to be featured as well. I personally believe that business ownership is a thankless job, and that small and medium-sized businesses don't get the press that they deserve. So back in March of 2023, I launched Ignite Business Insider, a digital magazine that lets local and small businesses share their story for free. Now, I've had many people question the word free. So directly from me, I wanted to let you know, yes, this is completely free, no strings attached. I launched Ignite Business Insider with the goal of sharing the stories of 1 million local and small businesses. Now, I'm nowhere near that goal, so I truly hope you'll take a few minutes and share your business's story on Ignite. I believe that every business has a story to tell, and I simply want to help share yours. So click the Ignite link in the description and share your story. You never know where it will lead.
Design Talk Live is brought to you by Allison Eden Studios. Design custom stained glass, mirror, and mosaic tiles for hospitality, commercial and residential design projects. Explore the limitless possibilities with Allison's wallpaper, fabric options, and custom accessories. To learn more, click the link in the description below. This episode is also brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited 1.25 times miles with 0 annual fee. Earn miles on every purchase, plus additional miles on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. Apply online for Venture One by clicking the link below. This episode is also brought to you by Join In-Crowd Digital Contact Cards. Create your free contact card in under a minute and start making more friends, growing your network, and staying connected. Join the in-crowd today.
Why I'm passionate about glass mosaics. I am passionate about glass mosaics because it's something that I absolutely love. I have been making tile for over 30 years, and I absolutely think that it is a place to really express yourself. Tile, it gives you so much beauty in a room, in any type of a situation that you can live in, and I've been creating tile for so long, and I just think that tile is a beautiful, beautiful material to put anywhere, from swimming pools to walls and etc.
From Spotify, Design Talk Live Studios, Joseph Haecker Inc., and the Live Broadcast Network, this is the Design Talk Live podcast, the podcast that explores the topics and conversations that matter to the design community. Here's your host, Joseph Haecker.
Hey there, design peeps. Welcome to the Design Talk Live podcast. We're here at the Denver
Design District at the Decorative Materials Showroom for the Spring Launch 2024. And I'm here with my good friend Allison Eden, the Lady Gaga of Tile. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about kind of her beginnings, how she got started, her stone collection, her new website, and the launch of the Design magazine. So this is going to be a fun podcast where you guys will be pretty interactive. So, and then we'll open it up to questions afterwards, but this is a live podcast. The audience, make some noise. This is a live podcast, so we've got all the timing of a regular podcast, but I'm here with Allison Eden on the Design Talk Live podcast at the Decorative Materials Showroom at the Denver Design District. Allison, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And for the audience, thank you guys for joining us and sitting through that intro. Allison, can you start out by sharing a little bit about you and Allison Eden Studios?
So, hi everybody. So I started making glass tile over 30 years ago when I was going to Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. I actually had just walked by a store, and I walked by a store that sold glass and just big sheets of glass, and I fell in love. It was like a candy store. So I walked in and I bought some glass, I brought it back to my dorm room, and I started breaking it with a hammer and gluing it to cardboard, and I was the copy girl at Nautica, and I would decorate my copy station with all of my little tile samples, and if somebody came by to ask if they, I need 10 copies, I need 20 copies, I'd be like, well, are you looking to renovate or redecorate? Because I have some ideas. And nobody really was interested in my tiles, so on my lunch break, I would wander around the garment center and to see if anybody was looking to renovate or if they needed tiles. And I met a guy in the insurance business while I was hustling my tiles in the elevator, and he said, well, you know what, if you want to put a mosaic table in the restaurant show at the Javits Center, it was a trade show for hotels and restaurant design, and I said, of course, I'll make a table. So I made a little table, I brought it in, and at the end of the first day of the show, he said, kid, get your table out of here. Nobody's looking at my insurance stuff, and I was hustling tables. And I had sold 50 tables to the New Jersey Performing Arts Center without knowing how to make a table. And so I rented a teeny little studio in New York City. It was like a 10 by 10 room, had to make 50 tables. And so I would wait till the super would leave at night, and I would put all the tables in the stairwell, and I would hire people off the streets to help me do all the tables. I had 17 floors, so I figured I can do 2 tables, I could do 17 a night, I'll be done by the end of the week. So I gave the guy an ETA of like, no problem, 50 tables a week to do. So got thrown out of that first studio, but I did the tables, and because you're not allowed to really work in a stairwell and in an office building in New York City at 3 a.m. with a bunch of homeless people that you had just hired. So, but I got the tables, and then I really wasn't sure. I fell in love with glass. Nobody had really been making mosaics at all, and they hadn't been. It was out of glass of what I was loving to use, and so I didn't know what I was. My parents were getting tired of paying for college. It had been 7 years. They're like, "What are you going to do with your life?" The support system was starting to run thin. I was like, "Well, I'm going to make," and I would show them my tile samples, and they were like, what, all of this, 7 years of college and this is what you're doing? They were still super supportive. So I figured, I'm going to put an ad in the yellow pages. And so I started with I said I was an accountant, I was a baker, I was a cook, I was a contractor. I was putting all these like really florally big ads in anywhere that needed, bigger ads. I figured I could do anything. I need to prove to my parents I could do something. So I was a contractor, and I got a call from a Burger King opening on 47th Street in New York City, in Times Square. And they said, well, we're looking for somebody to tile the entire floor of Burger King. We need it in 3 weeks, and we can't find anybody in the tri-state area to do so. Is this something that you do? I was like, well, you've come to the right place. This is what we do all the time. So I rented a car, and I drove to Home Depot, and I bought a video on how to tile a floor, and showed up to my job site. Once again, I was hiring people. I became a GC. I didn't realize that what a GC actually was, like having people make the stuff while you were teaching them, and I really wasn't sure. I didn't know how to lay mesh on the floor and mud and all this stuff, but I learned from the video, and the floor turned out beautiful, wonderful. The funny thing was when I showed up for the job, I had to go to Staples to buy my first invoice book, and I wrote 001. He didn't even figure out, like, 001? And so, but I did it, and after that I realized, like, if you love something so much, you need to do it. You need to take chances, and you have to, you just have to learn to do what you really feel that you could offer to society. And I had this love of tile, and so I just started continuing, and you want to?
Yeah, jump in there. So
in?
that was a great
Go on and on.
how you got started. At what point did you go from gluing tile to cardboard boxes and pitching at a copy machine to realizing this was a full business and making that transition?
Oh, well, maybe when my husband walked into my studio one day, right after 9/11, and he needed a place to work after that. So he started, I didn't have tables. I was working on the floor. It was kind of like hippy-dippy. I was, rollerblading around my office. And he was like, well, if you're going to start a business, you need a fax machine. And I thought that was very avant-garde. Like, why would I ever need that? And so, so he came in, he bought me a table and chairs and and that's how he started to help me. One of my very first projects was Decorative Materials, and I didn't have tape yet. I didn't know that you're supposed to tape front face mount your projects, and so I glued with Elmer's glue to construction tape, and my Decorative Materials was one of my very first projects as well. And I was so proud of my project. It was so beautiful on the table. When it shipped, they lifted it up and they all fell off. But quickly I learned, okay, this is what you need to do. And so quickly we fixed it and moved on from that. So I feel like I learned from so many failures. I never learned from successes. I learned from so many failures because I had nobody to teach me. I always taught myself everything. And so I think that's a very good lesson also, that you don't learn from success. You do learn from failure.
How many people can relate to those early beginnings of getting started? Now, Allison, you've worked on some pretty big projects with some pretty big name people. Can you share a couple of kind of celebrity clients that you've worked with?
Oh gosh, well, I feel like all my clients are celebrities because they're rock stars. I mean, everybody that comes to us to create something wants just something so incredible and so much fun to make. But celebrity-wise, like I've done Elton John's house, the Kardashians, Rihanna, Pink. I do a lot of rock stars' homes, I think, because it's just so unique. And I feel like a lot of artists want unique as well. So I think that's where I have a little niche.
Now, let's dive into the kind of unique part, because that part is a differentiator. I was a product designer. Nobody needed to know my name as a product designer, but you're the creative, you're the artist, and on the right over here we had a pretty good discussion about mosaicist. Can you explain mosaicist?
Well, I don't know. Some people will ask you, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a mosaicist. If I say I'm a mosaic artist, I always get, I mean, so I don't know. So I just say I'm a mosaicist. I make mosaics. That's what I do. I really don't know what else to call it.
Now, and then with that, so you've got, and we're going to end up talking about your new stone collection. But before we dive into that, let's talk about your glass mosaics and how that kind of works with designers. So designers, as they're work with Decorative Materials, coming in, working with the design teams, and then collaborating with you. How does that work with designers? How would they interact with you and Decorative Materials?
So if you look around, we have a box of about 100 colors. So if you come in with an idea, I love drawing. So if you have an idea of, so your client wants to do an aquatic scene in her bathroom, and give me the points of things that you're interested in, that you think your client might like. Tell me the dimensions of the room, and I'll draw it up for you. I'll send you color swatches. I love doing drawings. I love creating really interesting, unique spaces, and especially now with like everything's being photographed, everything's on Instagram. I feel like as a designer, you need to stand further above everything else, because you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and seeing the same things, and then you come across this like super interesting thing you've never seen before, and it's exciting. And I feel like we always have to keep doing something new, and I love change. So I love doing very unique pieces.
Now, you are kind of known for bold, bright color, but you're not just bold, bright color. You are very adaptive. Can you talk about kind of just the full range of products that you, and that it's custom?
Well, I can try to sell you pink and lime green all day long, but if you look in my studio, it's all whites and grays and beiges. And so at the end of the day, we do a lot of pops of color, but we do, I would say our color palette does stay very calming, unless we do a mural and I can go totally wild. So it's really whatever the designer wants to do, and we mold ourselves into creating, for you guys. So, and we have so much fun while I'm doing it, so.
Now, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Another song?
Yeah, you might actually like this commercial. But when we get back, we're going to talk about your new stone collection.
This is sponsored by Capital One.
This one.
You could go to any tile store and buy a white or a beige tile any time of day. But we want to create something fun and unique for the client. At Allison Eden Studios, we custom create, design, and manufacture glass mosaic tiles. It was always clear to me that I would own my own business because I was unemployable. I actually love doing my own thing. I really didn't want to listen or conform to what I was told to do. I run the production floor, and my husband, Gary, does all the business.
Business, financial, accounting, social media.
I get to do the fun stuff.
She started off with 2 employees.
And now we're shipping to
Dubai, Macau, Jamaica.
All over the world.
We use the ink card every single day. We order all sorts of supplies, office supplies, shipping supplies. I really love the flexibility of the rewards points. We could redeem them for gift cards for our clients or for our employees.
Or for me.
Allison is the one responsible for this artwork. It's really a reflection of her creativity, harnessing it all, putting it together, making it into a business. That's what we do every day.
That was actually a commercial on Chase. It's so funny that you found that.
Yeah. So we're here at the Decorative Materials Showroom at the Denver Design District for the spring launch 2024. And Allison, so you're known for glass mosaics, and like I said, Lady Gaga of Tile, like widely known. What took you into stone? Can you talk about the inspiration behind your stone patterns and lines and products?
So I've always wanted to do flooring, and glass is not really made for flooring. And I figured, well, if I'm doing walls, why can't I do the floors? And I started researching, different types of marbles and stone, and going into the showrooms and seeing all the gorgeous slab everywhere. I was like, I want to be able to do stone as well. So I took 5 of our oldest patterns and I had them made into marble. What I did a little different was that I took every pattern and I did a honed, a polished, and a leathered all together because I just couldn't choose. I just loved them all. And they came out beautiful. We did the floor, the little green floor in the back, and it's so I'm so into stone now, I'm obsessed. I want to put stone everywhere. And it's something new to learn, which I did not know before. And so I love learning about all these different types of stones and where they come from and how they mine them. And it's nice to be able to learn something you've never known before, and I love it. So our patterns have been working very beautifully with the stone. So now we launched this beautiful collection at Decorative Materials, and it's fun and fabulous, I think. Something new and exciting for me.
How many different patterns and different selections?
So there are 5 different patterns and 8 different colorways in those patterns, but they're also customizable. So you can mix and match. You don't need to use my curated colorway. You could use your own. So you can, and there's a stone book with all of the different stones, and you can choose. And
so the mixture of textures is pretty interesting. What was the inspiration, and then how do you see that being used by designers in their projects?
Well, I just thought the mixture of all 3 together, to me it was new. I wasn't sure if it was new to anybody else, but I just thought, I love textures. I love some were soft, some were rubbery, the glossiness. I just loved them all together. So I mixed them all in and created these patterns that were just so interesting with them.
It's a fun collection, and then what was your biggest? What have you learned most from the development of the new product? Because you were most of your career glass mosaics, so
that they're really heavy. I can't believe how heavy stone is. Trying to carry one board is 50 pounds. One board of glass is 5 pounds. So it's a whole nother animal. I didn't realize how heavy this was, but.
So we're going to take one more commercial break. That'll be the last commercial break. But when we get back, we're going to talk about your new website and the design magazine. So we'll be right back.
Hero Flooring was founded in 2014 with a clear focus on creating the ultimate client experience. Hero Flooring is a national brand of high-performance floor coverings, which includes carpet in broad lumen carpet tile formats, Hero rubber and Nike grind, tile, LVT, engineered wood, and turf.
So we are here at the Decorative Materials showroom at the Denver Design District with Allison Eden, Lady Gaga of Tile, a super fun, creative mosaicist. Allison, so you've got a new website coming out, and for your design partners, this makes complete sense, and there's a whole bunch of new tools for them. But for designers, what are some of the things that you're excited about?
Well, I think it's much more clear and concise when you go on the website. I don't even really have a computer, so to me, I never went on our website. I didn't care about a website. If people said, do you have one? I always said, go on my Instagram page, because it was the only thing I knew how to do. So now with this website, it will show the locations where we're sold and patterns and just everything you could do on a website, all that stuff. I'm sorry.
Well,
I still haven't really gone on,
Well, it does have the mobile version of it, but there is the emphasis on driving people into the showrooms to drive more business and collaborations with your retail partners that you've had a long relationship with. So even with Decorative Materials, can you share kind of like the length of that relationship? And
Oh goodness, I think I've been in Decorative Materials since the very beginning, or at least my very beginning. 25, 30 years. I mean, I was like a baby then. Now I could be a grandmother soon, but it's, it's so nice that I feel like my tile showrooms are my tile family. I've grown up with Decorative Materials. I started as a kid who knew nothing, who basically lived in a dorm in college and was hustling my artwork. And the support that I've always received, I was never a big company. It was just something that I loved more than anything, and I took so much pride in doing. And when you love something, you find your family that believes in you. And Decorative Materials always believed in me, and so thank you, and thank you for having me for so many years, and we do coverings every year. It's our tile show, and it's so nice to see the showrooms that you speak to every single day of your life for 30 years, but you only get to see people maybe once a year. So it's like a family reunion, and I feel very lucky to be in a very creative space with so many wonderful and talented people.
On the website, you have now with the ability to browse all your products, all your glass mosaics, and your stone mosaics. These are your product lines, that you're ready to ship products. Can you talk about your ready to ship products on the website, and then we'll talk about kind of the custom after that.
Yes. So I created a ready to ship collection, a very nicely priced collection during COVID, when I realized that people wanted things and so many things were so hard to find, and we created this collection, which is so beautiful, and there are 14 different patterns, and they can ship the same day. They are ready to go in the studio, and in every colorway. I created them because I realized that if I'm doing a full mural, not everybody can have a full wall of a mural, custom mural, because it could be maybe price prohibitive. But if you could border or use the rest of the room in a ready to ship pattern in the colors in the mural, it was like a win-win situation for everybody. So you could do a smaller mural and then surround it by a beautiful tile in the same colors. So the ready to ship collection has been so wonderful because it's ready to go. It could go the same day, and they're fun patterns, fun colors, very soft. I named them, I love candy, so I named them all candy names. So you get a Kit Kat or
Now, on the website, so not only can designers go in and browse it, they can locate the stores to come work with a local showroom, but you also have spec sheets on there that are available that they can download and then come into the showrooms with QR codes that bring you back into the page so that you can always get back to wherever you found that product on the website. So pretty intuitive tools and fun stuff. I'm a little biased on it, but
it's very techy, way above, but anything I understand. But it's so nice because people will call and they'll say, like, do you have the spec sheets? I'd be like, oh God, no. But now we do. Or even like, do you have a price? Oh, I don't even know. So now nobody needs to ask any technical questions. You can just call me to talk design and colors, and like I don't have to worry about any of that, which was always very stressful. Always.
So another feature of the new website is the design magazine. So you are now kind of also mosaicist editor-in-chief.
Oh, I love that. It's like such an editor-in-chief.
Can you share for the design community the value of having the design magazine?
Well, I think it's a beautiful way to thank the designer and the showroom for the project that they created. And so what on the website, tell me if I'm saying it incorrectly. You fill out the form, and you will just say, this is the project that we did. These are these are the photos, and we thank Decorative Materials. We thank you, and then it goes out into the world of the web.
Well, for designers and for the designers sitting in the audience, completing a project, it's huge to get your projects featured in Lux magazine or in some publication. But sometimes they've got publication delays, or they've got schedules, and so you're not always able to get your projects featured. But what I love about this is that Allison's made it really easy for you to get all of your projects published so that you guys can grow your business. And it's self-published, so you answer questions, you upload your photos, and then you hit publish. There's no cost, which is also a huge benefit. So you guys could technically get every single one of your projects featured in the design magazine, residential, commercial, and hospitality. So I think a huge tool, and something that's very unique to have on your website that throws people, it's got the links back to the different showrooms that you worked with and your vendors, and it guides you through the story of your projects. So.
And I find that it's like a web, I just find that it would be a very nice tool for designers. It's a thank you for using my projects and for my products, and it's a win-win for everybody, I think.
Allison, last question as we wrap up, and then we get to mingling. What is, because you've been at this for very long, you've basically pioneered the glass mosaic space. I think as we've gone around, we were over the last couple of days at the Basalt showroom, at the Edwards showroom, and just I keep hearing from everybody, you're like an inspiration for all the glass mosaic artists, and kind of spurred a movement. What is some major takeaway? What is one takeaway that you've learned throughout your career about the industry and space?
Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. There were so many times I would think, what am I doing? Does anybody, what am I doing? But if you really love what you're doing, just never, ever give up and keep going, because somebody will see your passion if you really believe in something. And I always believed in my product, and I always thought customer service is so important. Always be there for your client, at any time, and create a product that not only you love, that your clients love, and working together to create something like a magnificent piece of artwork, because mosaics it's an art. And so that would be my biggest takeaway, because through the years I would say, what do I really do? And I realized that I stuck with it, and I know what I do now. And I'm very proud of it. And I'm glad I stayed with and never gave up.
Well, Allison, you are a friend and just an inspiration. And then as we've been out to different shows together, people, and we're here in Denver, people love Allison. Aww. They love her. So nice. Stick around after. We're gonna network and do some Q&A, but we're gonna run the last outro for the podcast, and then we can open up to Q&A.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Design Talk Live podcast. The Design Talk Live podcast is produced by the Live Broadcast Network, Joseph Haecker Inc., and Design Talk Live Studios. This episode was produced by Eric Miller. The theme song for our show is Cielo and is used under a Creative Commons license. Editing was done by Greg Stevens. Mixing and mastering by Melanie Kim. To be a guest on the show or to become a sponsor, please visit us at josephhaecker.com/DesignTalkLive. That's josephhaecker.com/DesignTalkLive. Until next time, say hi to someone new. You never know who you'll meet.
Look, Mom, I made that.
That podcast will be available on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. So, and then it'll be on Allison's social media as well. Would love to open it up to any kind of Q&A.
Do you have a favorite design that you've ever done?
Oh, well, they're all kind of like, how do you choose your favorite child? I do have I have projects I think that are more meaningful. I do a lot of hospitals, and I feel like bringing color to hospitals and it's very meaningful to me. I've been doing a lot of children's cancer hospitals, and they have me do these beautiful, fun, crazy, wild rooms, and I feel like if I could bring a little smile to somebody's face, and living in color and living in could make such a difference in somebody's life to just smile. Hence our smile tile. I just think living in color is a very important thing. So.
Any other questions?
Curious, when you were doing some of the fun celebrities you mentioned, how much of the work was your idea saying, I think you should go bold on something really wild, versus them coming to you and saying, we want, a big hot pink lips or whatever?
I think it's half and half, because when you go into the showrooms, a pattern would speak to you, and then I would make samples, and sometimes I'd throw in my own samples thinking, just get it in front of them, just show them. And actually Elton John was that way. I did an overlapping bubbles for their children's room, and they asked me for very plain colors, but I sent also some samples of like lime green and blue and mirror, and I made it really fun, and that's what they went with. So sometimes when somebody orders a sample, and I didn't even know it was for him at the time, I will throw in a few things that I think might be very nice, or if they don't like it, the showroom will have it for the future, but if I am working on something, I'll throw in a few other ideas just to see, and sometimes those get chosen, or part of it gets chosen.
You had a question, Matt?
Okay.
First is done, but how much was 001 invoice?
Oh, it was a lot, and I winged it. It was like $18,000. For me, that was a lot. I mean, I was living in a dorm, and I think I don't even think I had $200 in my bank account. I made up the number in my head. I probably lost money doing the job because I was hiring people and paying cash to anybody who would help me carry a cement bag. So, here, I'll give you $20 to carry that in. So I probably lost money on that job, but it seemed like a lot.
Second, so mosaic's kind of an ancient tradition. So I'm just curious if you ever try to pull inspiration from the more ancient.
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, mosaics are the oldest form of art known to man. And it's, I hope it's not a dying art, and I'm trying to keep it alive. And the one thing that I think is very important to keep that alive is to teach younger people. I try to hire young people that will come and fall in love like I did. And I still have my same team that I started with. And because when we started, we all loved mosaics, and we love making mosaics. But, a younger generation, it grew up with cell phones, and now it's hard to maybe concentrate the way that somebody of my age can concentrate on a project. I put my headset on and turn on my disco and, go to town, and 12 hours later I realize, oh my God, I didn't even eat anything today. And, and younger people, like checking their social media every 5 minutes. And I find that that's very difficult, but I try to teach people this beautiful ancient form of art that needs to be brought to the next century, so it doesn't get lost and things don't get just Amazonized and made overseas, and just I feel like this one beautiful craft needs to stay. So I when I do teach people, I give them books, and we read together. We really I feel like it's a very important thing to continue this craft. So
there was a question over here. Was somebody? No? All right. Well, then let's, do you want to wrap things up?
Okay.
Thank you. That was amazing. I'm so inspired. Please stay and join us. We have a martini bar in honor of Allison and our New York themed cocktail party. We also have a raffle on Betsy's desk for a beaded bag, patterned, a clutch, with one of Allison's patterns. And have a great evening.
I
Please
do
stay.
want to, before we break, because
Yes.
this has been a wonderful full tour. We were, like I said earlier, in Basalt, in the Edwards showroom. You guys have an amazing company. Have you guys been out to several of the other showrooms? No. I encourage you guys to go check it out. You guys are an amazing company, great team in each of the locations, and I just wanted to thank you for the hospitality and showing us around.
Well, and if you're ever in New York City, please let us know. The studio is not to be missed. It is worth the trip. Yes.
Allison Eden Studios. Well, I'm more on Instagram. I think that's easier for me. It's just Allison Eden Studios, because I post on Instagram. Facebook, somehow, and I do it on my, maybe it's Facebook Shop, I don't know. Go on Instagram.
Allison Eden Studios on Facebook, Allison Eden Studios and Allison Eden on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Come with me all the time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.